Guillem Pons and I work as a Chief Data Officer at Badi. Being a Chief Data Officer means that you manage, process and analyze all the data that is flowing from different departments in your company. So my daily routines go from scripting, like coding, to analyzing data that is already processed. I like to understand why things happen. And nowadays, the way to understand why things happen is just by looking at the data and assessing the data in the right direction. And so that, I think, it's what inspired me, trying to go further on understanding why things happen in the applications and what's the behavior of the people within an application. If you really want to understand human behavior, the first thing that you have to do is just do not have any kind of belief. I just take a look at the data, I try to see at the user level what is going on, and then I try to find some patterns of behavior that they are frequently seen in this data. You need to have some building block to start that. The first thing that you need is user level data. Without that, without this level of granularity, you cannot even think of doing this kind of analytics. And that's why, for instance, we decided to fully integrate Adjust into our platform. Because Adjust at the time provided us a solution to have this user level data, and so then store that data into our data warehouse. That was necessary to cross this data with our data, the data that we had from our platform. There have been so many challenges in the process, right? The first thing was, okay, now I have this full integration with Adjust that allows me to have real-time data at the user level. Now I need my own infrastructure. Second challenge was, okay, now we have the data, and now we got to do something with it. And so we need to put a lot of logic in terms of coding into this data so that we can get useful insight from this data. The last challenge was, okay, now I have the data, I'm processing the data, and now I got to visualize this data. We decided that we would use a visualization tool so that after the analysis, we could visualize this data in a very specific way so that every single client that we had, and you got to understand client as a department in this case, could have the data in the way that they want. And that's been a challenge so far, and yet it's still a challenge. So in order to stay focused, what I try to do is I try to simplify things. When I was studying my PhD, I remember that the first thing that I learned was make it simple. Life is complex and problems can be really complex and difficult. So try to make it simple and then scale it up. I try to keep the KPIs simple, and from there expand my analysis and make it complex. But always with the focus that at the end of the day, what matters are simple KPIs. For us, a room rental is the simplest KPI and probably the most important one. So, in order for a room rental to happen, there is a user journey. A user starts to get into our platform because of marketing campaigns, right? And then she does some stuff in our platform, and if the journey goes well, she's gonna end up doing a room rental. So what I try to do is, okay, what is the magic moment for this room rental to happen? Human behavior may be completely random. And so the first thing that you gotta do is backward engineering, like backward induction. It allows to adapt your marketing campaigns together with your product so that this magic moment actually happens. And then you cluster that behavior, because even though they all end up doing a room rental, there is a lot of different behavior going on at the same time. And then from there you cluster and you see the different actions that they do. So at this moment, we are only using cluster analysis for ex post analytics. We are completely ready to start using prediction models to actually forecast what's going to be conditional on the behavior that we are observing at any specific point of time, what's going to be the next behavior. And this gives you a lot of power, because it means that you are able to predict the behavior of your users and then relate that to the marketing campaigns and to the features of the product. I've talked to different algorithm designers and people who is actually pretty powerful doing algorithms. And so it's it doesn't matter how good is your mathematical background, how good is your algorithm. If you don't have the right data processed in the right way, there is no way your algorithm is going to work. If you see a fraud behavior, not even, I'm not talking now from an installation point of view, but from, even within the applications, there is a lot of fraud going on. The installation is not a fraudulent installation, but this user actually is trying to make fraud within your application. So when you see this kind of behavior, then you gotta erase the user and erase that kind of behavior from your data, because that's something that is worthless apart from detecting it. Talking about fraud, and when it comes to like seeing a super positive outcome that is so positive that you gotta be like scared of it. I think that machine learning helps there, but it's at the end of the day, it's all about human learning. So what I do is I talk to the customer experience team and I say, okay, every single time that you see a chat or that you see, some kind of irregular behavior that you are like, that is suspicious to you, just let me know. So I think that, before being a data-driven company was like something to be said and to be conveyed to the people. Right now, nobody says that, that we have a data-driven company, because it is just that way, So this is an exciting new moment for data scientists and data engineers, because finally people understand that being able to understand and to know what is going on using your data is something that it gives you a lot of power. And this is getting complex and complicated, because understanding what is happening, you just need to analyze the data. Understanding why is that happening, you need to put science there. You need to put theory, and you need to put a theoretical background and an explanation, a model, a mathematical model. And I think that these are the new challenges of the industry.